I'm leaving you for a real man, someone who's actually here, taking our money. Good luck.
The text came through at 3 a.m. on an oil platform in the Gulf of Mexico. My wife of 18 years had just stolen $142,000 and disappeared with a 25-year-old. What she didn't know is that I'd been 3 steps ahead for 8 years. And when I was done, she'd wish she'd never sent that text. Thank you for listening. If this story resonated with you, leave a comment below and subscribe to this channel for more infidelity stories and cheating wife stories on YouTube. My name is Marcus Smith, 52 years old, 27 years working offshore oil platforms, the kind of work that pays exceptional money but costs you everything else. My hands were still covered in grease when Elena's message lit up my phone screen. A screenshot followed. Our joint account balance, $0, where $142,000 used to be. She'd added a little winking emoji, like this was cute. I didn't throw my phone, didn't scream, just sat there on my bunk while the rig hummed beneath me. Then I typed back, "Take care of yourself." Turned off my phone and went to shower. The hot water felt good. I thought I understood what betrayal looked like. But I was wrong. My bunkmate Jackson noticed something the next morning, kept glancing at me during safety checks. But offshore rules are simple. Personal problems stay personal. 16 men depended on us keeping this floating city operational. During lunch break, I checked my email. That's when things got interesting. Elena had filed for divorce, claimed I'd abandoned the marriage by working overseas too much. Her lawyer, some guy named Bradley, specialized in high-asset divorces. They wanted spousal support based on my excessive income. The kicker? Her emotional support partner was already living in our house in Amarillo. Our house, where I'd paid every mortgage payment for 13 years. I closed my laptop and went back to work. That night, I sent a single email. Not to Elena, to my cousin Ryan, an accountant in Dallas. Subject line, Protocol Winter. That was our code from years back. 3 minutes later, his response.
Already on it. Don't respond to anything until you're stateside.
I had 2 more weeks on this rotation. 2 more weeks of 12-hour shifts in 110-degree heat, while the life I thought I had dissolved back home. But here's what Elena didn't understand. I wasn't panicking. I wasn't scrambling. I was waiting. Because sometimes the best move is no move at all. I met Elena 19 years ago at a tackle shop in Amarillo. She was 31, working the register, making jokes about city folks who thought bass fishing was complicated. I was 33, home between contracts. We got married 11 months later. Fast, but it made sense then. I'd already built a good foundation, owned my house outright from a lucky investment, had a clear career path on international rigs. She said she admired my stability, my focus. I admired her energy, the way she lit up a room. The rotation schedule was always the challenge. 2 months on, 1 month off. But the money was exceptional. 6 months of work could equal 3 years of normal income. We agreed it was worth it. She'd hold down the home front. I'd build our future. Around year 12, things shifted. Small complaints about missed birthdays. Questions about whether I really needed the Saudi contract. Comments about her friends' husbands being around for dinner parties. I should have seen it then. By year 16, she stopped asking when I'd be home, stopped sending photos. Our video calls got shorter and shorter. I dismissed it as natural evolution, comfort replacing excitement. But I was wrong. Last Christmas, I came home to find she'd redecorated everything. New furniture, new paint, all different. When I asked, she just said,
I needed a change.
I didn't ask what kind of change. 2 months ago, I noticed large transfers from our joint account.
House repairs,
She explained.
the foundation.
I drove by before leaving for this rotation. No construction. But there was a black Mercedes I'd never seen in my driveway. 4 weeks ago, she stopped answering my calls. Just texts.
Busy with a new project.
I almost flew home early. Instead, I convinced myself to trust my wife of 18 years. That was my mistake. 3 days ago, our neighbor Walter sent me a photo, moving truck in our driveway. Caption:
Thought you should know.
I didn't reply. Sometimes you just wait for the truth to reveal itself. And it did. The day after Elena's text, the satellite phone rang. Ryan.
You sitting down?
Just tell me. What he said next made the room tilt sideways.
She's been planning this for at least 14 months. Regular transfers to a separate account under her maiden name. He paused. Started small. 2,000 here, 3,000 there. Then bigger amounts the last 90 days. Total of $214,000 moved. Not just the $142,000 from your joint account.
I sat there, suddenly aware of the generator hum beneath me. That was significantly more than our joint savings. This was bigger than I realized.
There's something else.
Ryan's voice got quieter.
She changed your beneficiary designations on the life insurance 6 months ago, and she took out a $40,000 home equity line against the house.
My chest tightened.
Forged your signature.
18 years together. Nearly 2 decades of shared life. And she'd been methodically erasing me from it, piece by piece, for over a year. The guy, I finally asked.
Tyler Brennan. 25, like she said. Former personal trainer. No significant employment for 3 years.
Ryan hesitated.
3 previous relationships, all with women over 45. Each ended within 18 months.
The pattern was obvious.
And Marcus?
Ryan's voice dropped.
Credit card charges show 2 one-way tickets to Scottsdale, dated for next Tuesday.
3 days from now. She wasn't just leaving me. She was vanishing with everything before I even made it home. I hung up and sat in the darkness for a long time. Just watched memories rearrange themselves in my mind. Different picture now. The late-night calls she'd take outside. The sudden fitness obsession 3 years ago. The complaints about money despite our comfortable savings. What hit me hardest wasn't the betrayal itself. It was the planning. The calculated, patient dismantling of our life while she smiled to my face, while she accepted the money I sent home, while she told me she missed me. Something inside me crystallized then, the hurt hardening into something colder. I walked to my locker and pulled out my laptop, logged into the email account only Ryan and I knew about, accessed the holding company we'd established 8 years ago after I watched a colleague lose everything in a divorce. Winter Creek Holdings, named after my grandmother's maiden name and the creek on our property. The account balance loaded. $1.6 million. For 8 years, I'd been diverting 70% of my income there, legally declared on taxes but separated from marital assets through the corporate structure Ryan designed. I sent one email to my lawyer in Dallas. Proceed with Operation Cold Return. Then I closed my laptop and went to get coffee. For the first time in days, I felt hungry. Because now? Now I had a plan. I landed in Dallas 38 hours after my rotation ended. Ryan met me at the airport with a burner phone and a folder.
She's been calling your regular number nonstop. The bank froze the account she transferred the money to.
She doesn't know I'm back.
No one does except me and Stephen.
Stephen was my lawyer. Ryan pulled out his tablet in the car.
But there's something else you need to see.
Text messages between Ilona and someone saved as T. Plans for their new life. Jokes about me working overseas while they spent my money. Details about the house they'd already put a deposit on in Scottsdale. But one exchange from 2 days ago stopped me cold.
Bank froze the money. Need Marcus to verify in person. What do we do?
He's still on the rig for 10 more days. Tell him there's an emergency. Get him to authorize you.
He's not answering my calls.
Try harder. We need that money before the house closing next week. Or we look at Plan B.
I read the next line 3 times.
I'm not comfortable with Plan B.
It's just insurance money. He works a dangerous job for a reason. People have accidents all the time.
My hands went cold. What I found next changed everything. "These admissible?" I asked quietly.
They're from her iCloud backup. She used your Apple account credentials to set up her new phone last year. Ryan glanced at me. Never change the password. Everything syncs to your storage.
We drove straight to Stephen's office. He'd already prepared everything. Divorce papers, criminal complaint for the forgery, emergency motion to freeze all assets.
"There's a complication,"
Stephen said.
"She filed a domestic violence claim against you yesterday.
I felt something snap inside me.
Says she left because of ongoing emotional abuse, fear for her safety."
That's insane. I've been 6,000 miles away for 7 weeks.
"Doesn't matter. It's a tactic."
Stephen leaned forward.
"Her lawyer's pushing for an emergency hearing to get a restraining order and exclusive use of the house."
So she wanted to ban me from my own property while her boyfriend lived there. I thought I understood betrayal. I was wrong. "Options?" I asked.
"We counterfile immediately. Fraud, forgery, alienation of affection, conspiracy based on those text messages." He slid a document across the desk. "And we file this."
Motion to dismiss domestic violence claim with evidence of perjury. What evidence? Stephen smiled, thin and cold.
"Your company security badge shows you've been on that platform for 7 continuous weeks. Your passport stamps confirm it. Your phone records show nothing suggesting arguments or threats."
I signed everything.
"One more thing. We need you to appear surprised when she's served. She can't know you're back yet."
I nodded. I can do that. The trap wasn't set by her. It was set by me. I stayed at Ryan's place that night and slept better than I had in weeks. The next morning, I logged into the security camera feed for our house, a system I'd installed 3 years ago. Elena had either forgotten about it or assumed I couldn't access it from offshore. The footage showed a young man lounging by my pool, drinking from my whiskey collection, wearing what looked like my college sweatshirt, feet up on the outdoor furniture I'd built by hand. While I watched, Elena came into frame, anxious, pacing as she talked on her phone. Things clearly weren't going according to plan. Ryan came in with coffee.
You should see this.
He'd spent the night researching Tyler Brennan's background. What he found changed everything.
He's done this before. 3 times.
Ryan turned the screen toward me.
Same pattern every time. Meets a woman, usually married, always financially stable. Relationship develops. Woman leaves husband, taking whatever money she can. They move away together.
He paused.
Within 18 months, he disappears with whatever's left.
The screen showed news articles, court records, social media posts. 3 women across 5 years, all left financially ruined. One still paying off credit card debt Tyler had accumulated in her name.
There's more,
Ryan said quietly.
He was briefly a person of interest in the death of his second girlfriend's ex-husband. Suspicious car accident 6 weeks after the divorce filing. Man went off a cliff on a road he'd driven for 20 years. The room felt colder. No charges filed.
But I wasn't ready for what came next. My phone rang. Elena again. I let it go to voicemail. Ryan played it on speaker.
Marcus, please.
Her voice cracked.
I need you to call the bank. There's been a misunderstanding with our account. I was just moving money to a safer investment, like we talked about. But the bank froze everything. She was crying now. Please call them. I'm really scared.
We never talked about any such thing. The performance was convincing. I would have believed her 2 weeks ago.
She's desperate,
Stephen said when we met him for lunch.
The house closing in Scottsdale is in 5 days. They need that money.
What's our next move?
Emergency hearing is this afternoon. Judge Martinez presiding. She has zero tolerance for false domestic violence claims.
Stephen slid another folder across the table.
Your neighbor Walter sent these this morning.
Photos of furniture being loaded into a moving truck. My furniture. Family heirlooms. Things that had been in my family for generations.
They're clearing out the house,
Stephen confirmed.
planning to disappear whether they get the bank money or not.
I closed the folder. Change of plans, I said. I want to go home. Both men looked at me. Not to confront them. To watch from Walter's place. I want to see this with my own eyes. Ryan and Stephen exchanged looks. And I want to be there when they're served. Not hiding behind legal papers. I met Stephen's eyes. I want Elena to see my face when her world collapses. Stephen nodded slowly.
I'll arrange it.
As we left the restaurant, a text came from Walter.
They're packing your grandfather's desk now, the one you restored.
Some thefts go beyond money. Some betrayals cut deeper than infidelity. This had just become personal in an entirely new way. The 6-hour drive to Amarillo gave me time to think. Stephen arranged for the sheriff to serve papers at 9 a.m. the next morning. Ryan set up surveillance from Walter's house across the street, where I'd stay overnight. Everything was in place. Walter greeted me with a silent handshake after midnight. Retired petroleum engineer who'd worked rigs himself for 30 years. No explanations needed. She has no idea you're watching?
None. They've been packing all day, loading the good stuff, leaving the rest.
He pointed to his front window with a clear view of my driveway.
2 moving trucks came and went. Big one coming tomorrow morning for the last load.
Anyone else been by?
Woman with a clipboard yesterday. Real estate agent looked like.
My jaw tightened. They're selling the house.
Listing it. Saw her taking pictures.
I called Stephen immediately. He promised to check property records first thing. At 3 a.m., unable to sleep, I sat at Walter's kitchen table reviewing all the documentation Ryan had prepared. Bank records showing Elena's systematic draining. Phone records revealing hours of calls to Tyler going back over a year. Credit card statements showing hotel charges in Amarillo on days she claimed to be visiting her sister in Tulsa. Cold clarity in seeing the evidence laid out. Not just a momentary betrayal, but a calculated extraction, a deliberate dismantling of everything we'd built. By sunrise, Stephen texted confirmation. Elena had listed our house 2 days earlier. Asking price was 30% below market value, priced for a quick sale. She'd forged my signature on the listing agreement. At 8:30 a.m., I watched from Walter's kitchen as Elena and Tyler loaded the last items into his black Mercedes. Small valuables, easy to transport. My grandmother's silver frames. The antique watch my father gave me before he died. At 8:45 a.m., a large moving truck pulled up. 3 men got out. At 8:55 a.m., an unmarked car parked behind the truck, blocking it in. 2 sheriff's deputies and a woman in a business suit emerged. Stephen had sent a court officer. "It's time," I said to Walter. I walked across the street as the deputies approached my front door. My heart was pounding, but my hands were steady. Elena answered. Her expression shifted from irritation to confusion as the officers identified themselves.
Mrs. Smith, we have paperwork to serve you and the gentleman on the premises.
I stayed just out of sight, watching as color drained from her face. She called for Tyler, who appeared behind her, with his arms sliding possessively around her waist. That's when I stepped into view. The look on Elena's face, I'll never forget it. Shock giving way to fear, then calculation. Tyler just looked confused.
Marcus,
She whispered.
you're supposed to be on the rig.
I let the silence hang there for a moment. Surprise, I said quietly. I nodded to the deputies. They handed over the stack of documents, emergency restraining order against them, freezing of all assets, criminal complaint for forgery, nullification of the home listing, Notice of divorce proceedings, citing fraud and criminal conspiracy.
You can't do this.
Tyler spoke up, puffing out his chest.
She's afraid of you. We have a domestic violence claim.
Dismissed this morning by Judge Martinez, I interrupted. My voice was calm and cold. Hard to abuse someone from 6,000 miles away. The judge was particularly interested in the text messages discussing your Plan B involving my insurance policy. His face went slack. Elena stepped forward with tears already forming.
Marcus, this is all a misunderstanding. I was just...
Saving our documents? I gestured to the moving truck. Protecting our assets by emptying our house? Planning our future by selling our home without telling me? She opened her mouth. Nothing came out.
You have 30 minutes to remove personal items only,
The court officer stated.
Clothing and toiletries. Everything else stays pending court inventory.
As they went inside under supervision, I turned to walk away.
Where are you going?
Elena called after me. I didn't look back. Home. The hearing took place 3 weeks later. I sat at one table with Stephen, Elena and her lawyer at another. Tyler was conspicuously absent. He'd disappeared 2 days after being served, taking Elena's remaining cash and jewelry with him. A familiar pattern, just as Ryan had discovered. The judge reviewed everything methodically. Bank records, forged documents, text messages, location data. When she reached the messages discussing Plan B and insurance money, she stopped reading and looked directly at Elena.
Mrs. Smith, are you aware of the penalties for conspiracy to commit insurance fraud, or worse?
Elena's lawyer whispered urgently in her ear.
It wasn't like that, Your Honor.
Elena stammered.
Tyler was just joking. I never would have.
Save it for the criminal proceedings.
Judge Martinez interrupted.
This court's jurisdiction is the division of assets and dissolution of marriage.
She continued reading, occasionally shaking her head. When she finished, she set the papers down and removed her glasses.
In my 30 years on the bench, I've rarely seen such clear, premeditated financial deception in a marriage.
She looked at Elena.
You systematically drained joint accounts while forging documents and planning to flee the state with marital assets.
Turning to me, her expression softened slightly.
Mr. Smith, while your creation of separate accounts through a holding company might seem questionable to some, the court finds you consistently paid household expenses, filed proper taxes, and made no attempt to hide assets from the government, only to protect them from potential future claims.
Her ruling was swift and final. All assets transferred by Elena would be returned to me. The house remained solely my property. Elena's claims for spousal support, denied. And most satisfyingly, she referred the forgery and conspiracy evidence to the district attorney's office for potential criminal charges. As we left the courtroom, Elena tried to approach me. I kept walking. Some victories need no words. And then I discovered the truth. The story didn't end there. Because what Elena didn't know, what she couldn't have known, was that I wasn't finished. That $40,000 home equity loan she'd taken out with my forged signature. I filed a fraud claim with the bank. They investigated, found the forgery. Not only did I not have to pay it back, the bank went after Elena for the full amount plus penalties. The house sale she'd tried to force through, I contacted every single person who'd viewed it and told them the full story, how it was listed illegally, how my wife had tried to steal everything. Know what happened? 3 of those potential buyers, all divorced men, offered to testify on my behalf if needed. One even sent me a bottle of whiskey with a note, for surviving. And Tyler? I'd sent his complete history to the detective investigating that suspicious accident from 5 years ago. Every court record, every bankruptcy, every restraining order from his previous victims. They reopened the case. Tyler got arrested in Phoenix 6 weeks later. Turns out that doctor he was targeting She was a prosecutor's sister. The prosecution had been watching him the whole time. 3 months later, I was standing on the porch of my cabin outside Boulder, Colorado, a property that had been part of Winter Creek Holdings all along. 40 acres of pine forest Elena never knew existed. The forgery charges had stuck. Elena took a plea deal, no jail time, but 5 years probation and restitution payments she'd likely never complete. Last I heard, she was living with her sister in Tulsa, working retail. Tyler was facing charges in 2 states. His pattern had finally caught up to him. I'd taken early retirement from the oil company. 27 years was enough. Between my investments, savings, and the natural gas royalties from a property in Arkansas, I had more than enough. Walter called occasionally with updates from Amarillo. I'd sold that house. Too many bad memories. He'd helped clear out the last of my things, shipping the family heirlooms to Colorado. The afternoon I got the final paperwork showing the dissolution of Winter Creek Holdings, I poured a glass of bourbon and sat on the porch swing I'd built that summer. For the first time in years, no one was expecting anything from me. No crew waiting for instructions. No wife pretending to miss me. Just quiet and the wind in the pines. My phone rang. Project manager at a Canadian oil company offering a consulting position. Good money, minimal travel, just sharing expertise. I'll think about it, I told him. But not tonight. Tonight was for me, for the peace I'd earned, for the life I was finally living on my own terms. Because I learned something the hard way. Sometimes, the worst thing that happens to you becomes the best thing that ever happened. You just have to be patient enough to see it through, strategic enough to outthink them, and strong enough to let justice take its course. Thank you for listening. Like the video and subscribe for more infidelity stories, cheating wife stories, and inspirational stories about finding the strength to start over.